Your transverse abdominis, your deepest core muscle, your internal corset, cannot contract if you have bad posture. The way this muscle works is your ribs, your transverse abdominis connects your ribs at the top, your diaphragm at the top, and your pelvic floor at the bottom. So for it to contract, the bottom of your rib cage, push into my body to kind of find the bottom of my rib cage right here, should sit directly above the top of your pelvis bone. So you see here, it's a straight line from the bottom of my ribs straight to the top of my pelvis. Now, if you have what's known as anterior pelvic tilt, where your ribs come forward, and you see now it's not a straight line anymore, my ribs are pushed out over my pelvic bone. In this position, my transverse abdominis can't contract properly, and if I have that posture all the time, it's going to stretch out and weaken the muscle. And I'm going to show you why. Because the way that your core is set up is you have your pelvic bone, which is like a bony ball at the bottom, have your ribs, which is like an upside bony ball at the top, and then your transverse abdominis, your internal corset, it's a meaty corset that wraps around, and it connects your ribs, that bony bone at the top, to your pelvis, that bony bone at the bottom, and it wraps around and it elongates your body, it pulls the contents of your stomach in, and it supports your spine, stabilizes your spine. And so when your ribs, the bottom of your ribs are stacked directly above your pelvic bone, then that meaty corset can wrap around and pull your contents of your stomach in and generate tension and generate pressure as it's needed. But when you have an anterior pelvic tilt, or when you have poor posture, where like your ribs are jolted, ribs are out, hips are tilted down, and there's no straight line, it's at a weird angle, then your internal corset, this is happening here, you see? Like this, and suddenly it's not sitting above each other, so your TVA, your transverse abdominis, can't generate that tension to turn around to do that pulling in. So your posture really is the foundation of movement. Without good posture, your muscles can't even contract properly. And muscles contract when they're at the optimum length, and if the muscle fibers are too short or too long, they can't contract properly. And so you have to set your body to allow your transverse abdominis to even contract. So this breathing exercise may seem simple, but it's really about connecting your breathing back to your core. Well, connecting your inhaling back to your diaphragm, and your exhaling back to your core. Because your diaphragm muscle is used to inhale, your core muscles are used to exhale. And when you become deconditioned, you kind of lose the use of it. And these muscles are so deep that if you're not using it, then you lose the ability to use it. So starting with posture, this exercise, when you're we start lying on our back. It's the safest way to do a DR workout if you're new to it. When you're lying on your back, that you shouldn't be able to stick your hand under. Think about the ribs down. I want you to push your ribs down so your ribs are directly above your pelvic bone. There should be no arching of your back. If this is happening, then you need to bring your ribs down because your back is hyperextended. There's a slight arch in my lower back, but not so much that I can stick my hand under. See, I can put my hand a little bit and then my back flattens and I can't get it any further than that. So it's not like so completely flat that there's nothing. I don't know how to, you shouldn't be able to stick your hand underneath your body. This shouldn't be happening at all. It's this. So once you get into this correct position, we're going to inhale and only use your diaphragm to inhale. Because when you inhale, what happens is your diaphragm contracts. And when your diaphragm contracts, it moves down. When it moves down, it reduces the space in your abdominal cavity. And so you cannot be contracting your abs because when your diaphragm moves down, it actually increases the pressure in your abdominal cavity because the same amount of contents are in a smaller space. So the pressure increases. And so the way for your body to naturally manage this pressure is for your abs to relax. Your abs will relax, and so your stomach will come out a little. So as your diaphragm moves down and reduces it, your abs come out, so your stomach contents still have the same amount of space and it manages the pressure. But when you exhale, your diaphragm relaxes. And what happens when your diaphragm relaxes is that it moves up. And to help your diaphragm move up, with the exhalation, you use your abs. Your abs, the function of your abs, part of it, your rectus abdominis at the front, is to help you exhale. So, excuse me, when you exhale,
That's when you bring your belly button in and up, and it's not just bringing it in, you have to pull it up to that zipping motion, because the pulling your belly button up is going to help raise your pelvic floor, which is an important part of the movement. The pulling it in is going to help engage your TVA and also contract your rectus abdominis, the six pack at the front, so you can exhale properly. And also, what's happening with the exhalation is when your diaphragm moves up, now there's more space in your abdominal cavity, so the pressure reduces. There has to be a certain amount of pressure within your abdominal cavity because your spine is also there, and your spine is a bunch of different discs, a bunch of vertebrae that are connected. And so if there's not enough pressure, your spine will collapse if there's not enough pressure within your abdominal cavity. So to keep you alive, your body functions to keep you alive, you need to increase back the pressure. And the way to increase the pressure, as your diaphragm moves up and increases the space, your abs have to move in and reduce the space again to keep the amount of pressure within your abdominal cavity constant. So this breathing exercise, what we're going to do, lie flat on our back. When you inhale, you need to relax your abs when you inhale. So inhale fully and put your hand on your stomach so you feel there should be no contraction. It's soft. So inhale fully. Your stomach might come up a little bit because you're just relaxing those muscles. And then, I'm just going to let my breath go so I can talk. When you exhale, you're going to pull your belly button in and up. Inhale for 7, and then exhale. So what's happening? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And you should feel when you're pull up your belly button, you should feel a pulling here at the bottom, because your pelvic floor is muscles right at the bottom that hold up your uterus, your bladder, your pelvic organs. So it's a tightness here that you'll feel as you pull up, and a tightness around your core as you engage that internal corset, and a tightness up as you're contracting your rectus abdominis at the front. So this exercise, lie on your back, inhale, no arch, inhale fully for 7 seconds and relax your stomach on the inhale, relax your abs on the inhale, and then exhale fully for 7 seconds. And on the exhale, when you're exhaling, pull your belly button in and up. And this is an exercise you really need to do till you feel those muscles, those contractions get more and more powerful. And the stronger the muscles get, the stronger you're going to feel the contraction, the tighter it's going to be. And when you've comfortable with just the breathing, you can move straight onto the heel tap, starting with one foot on the ground before raising the other. You're going to keep with the breathing, but this time you're going to bring your legs into the breathing. So the heel tap, as you tap your heel, you exhale. Exhale fully, belly button in and up. As you bring your heel up, you inhale fully, relax those abs. Tap the heel. When you feel comfortable with single leg heel taps, you can move on to double leg heel taps. And it's exhale, pulling that belly button in and up as your heel goes down. Inhale as it comes up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And if you notice bulging along your midline at any point, then regress the exercise. Put one leg on the floor. And if it's still bulging, then go back to the breathing until you're contracting your abs and you're pulling it in to prevent the bulging along the midline. Let me bulging straight down the midline. I have a hernia, which is a hole in my connective tissue, and so the hernia for me will bulge because it's like a hole and my intestines are pushing through the hole. That's separate from the bulging along the midline when your linea alba can't generate enough tension, so the whole linea alba is bulging. Like when your whole linea alba is bulging, you don't want that to be happening, and that happens to me still when I do certain exercises. There's not
My abs aren't strong enough to do every exercise. You really have to know what your body is capable of doing and progress accordingly.